You've had an offensive performance coming off the one you did going into the next game. This week, do you pare back some? Do you just say it was one of those days, or what's the approach in general?
Well, we cut back the volume last week as we spoke on in here. We cut it back a little bit more this week. We just got to make sure we get everything rep. But then on the flip side of that is, we play a game in 8 days and then 6 days and 4 days. So you have to kind of prepare for that. So you can't, you're definitely hoping to have some carryover. There's not a lot of carryover, when you look at the schemes, there's some. So you factor all that into it, and because, we do have the extra day this week, but really our focus is really about preparing and using that day for this Monday night game.
And you mentioned it there, but this actually starts to stretch where you have the, like you say, the Monday, Sunday, Thursday. Mm-hmm. So you kind of build that into what you're doing in practice as well.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, I mean, it's all part of the coach's plan, game planning. We always work ahead on a normal week. So in a normal 7-day game stretch, our coaches start Thursday night, and Friday and Saturday on the next opponent, because particularly every coach has a situational responsibility. So now that's obviously heightened because the reality is we need to start that Friday, Saturday, Sunday this week, but also we got to be looking ahead before we even play Washington to make sure we're on top of the Giants. So it's just a lot of pre-planning, and which is, I assume everybody does it like this.
Mike, Todd Archer with ESPN. Dak is having his surgery today, out for the season. What do you tell him as he's coming back for looking ahead to 2025?
I mean, really haven't had that conversation yet. I mean, he's, I haven't got the news yet as far as, I know he went in this morning, so I communicated with him before that. But yeah, I think the most important thing he needs to do right now is focus on the surgery, the rehab, and just going through that process. Surgery, regardless of what it's for. I mean, it's always tough on the individual. So he needs to just focus on himself right now.
And then you mentioned the extra day a little bit. Is the extra day mitigated because 8, 6, and 4, or
mitigated?
Yeah. Or what do you do with the extra day?
I think just like anything, you got to really look at your workload, because you don't want to go. Where do you do your heavy lifting? It's just the way I've done it. So we kept them on a normal flow, Wednesday through Friday. So then we're cutting it back leading into the game, because obviously the next week will be shorter, and then the next week, obviously the Thursday is going to be even more shorter. So, but yeah, I think where do you do the heavy lifting this week is part of the plan, and we're doing ours in the beginning of the week.
John Machado with The Athletic. How did CD come out of the game with the shoulder issue from the week?
Pretty good. He's in everything so far this morning. So.
And then you're not going to have to deal with any sun Monday night, obviously. But you had talked about the week before about possibly changing some stuff up because you guys haven't played well at home. Would you have any interest in having the doors and roof open just because it hasn't been like that for a long time?
You think it'll help us? If you think it'll help us win, I'm all for it. So.
Saudis at The Athletic. Mike, you talked the other day about Cooper needing to push the ball a little bit more down the field. How do you get him? How do you do that? Is that a play call thing where you call plays that kind of forces his hand down the field, or does he just need to make those throws?
Well, it's not really the way you play. You have 3-step drops that can go down the field, based off how the defense reacts to it. You have 5-step drops that give those opportunities too. So, I think it's like anything. I've always started the passing game with protection first. That's the way I learned it. That's the way I believe in it. It's in your protection schemes have to fit the footwork of the quarterback. It's like anything in the game of football. Where are you going to spend your time? So, our ROI has always been on the footwork of the quarterback, decision-making process, and building that in. So the protection system is very important. And to really get what I refer to as green grass throws and pushing the ball down the field, vertical shots and shots are not, to me, those are shots. Pushing the ball down the field is getting the ball thrown 18 to 20 yards where guys can catch and run. And with that, there's protection, certain protections you need to use and so forth. But that's why you game plan. That's why you go through the matchups, and everything factors week to week. Who's playing, injuries, all that stuff plays into it. So, but yeah, definitely, I think if the opportunities they come and challenge us the way I think they're going to, we may have some more opportunities to go down the field.
On the note of protection, Tyler Guyton coming back, but Austin had a good game the other day. How do you balance that?
Balance, it's great. It's healthy. Healthy competition's always good. Chuma's coming back today too. So just to see the 4 tackles get out there and compete, I think it'll be really good for us.
Calvin Watkins, Dallas Morning News. How do you get backup quarterbacks into a rhythm, especially as you said, this stretch where you have an extra day, then a short day, then you have Thanksgiving?
I mean, but you're talking about Cooper now as a starter, right? Yeah. No, I just think like anything. I mean, he's got a bank, an investment, an account that's full of opportunities that he's had here. Certain throws he feels better about the certain guys, and I mean, you look at all those things when you put together a game plan. So, and at the end of the week, and that's really the process that I've always used since 2000 is. I'll sit down with the quarterback and we'll have a discussion on the first, 15 throws, 15 plays of the game. And I think it's very important for the quarterback to have input in it. And what you learn is if you two are really pretty far off, not on the same page, then you probably didn't spend enough time together during the week because we're watching the same tapes, we're in the same meetings, we're talking about the same things, we're looking at the same intangibles that make a play successful. You know the same variables of what the opponent's trying to put in front of you. So just trusting that process and getting him off to a strong start is always my focus. I always want to get the quarterback into a rhythm, and that's that goes back to the way I learned it.
Does it take you to year 2 or 3 to get used to the quirkiness of the Cowboys schedule in comparison to when you was in Green Bay?
Yeah, I mean, the first year in the pandemic, I really felt that 21 was I made some adjustments just because I didn't think we did a good job. I didn't do a good enough job with the scheduling for recovery and so forth because just not only it's more the the flights when you're coming back getting back 4 in the morning frequently. So and our travel's not terrible. So I mean it's obviously we leave at 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock based off where we're going. But yeah, I was spoiled the last place I was at. Everything was a 50-minute flight. So I mean be home for dinner. So but but the late the national TV. But that's there's a good thing with that too. I mean it's that's people want to see you play and you're always in prime time. It's great for your families and things like that. But you do have to factor in the scheduling and I have since then. So I thought 21 was the year that I thought, hey, I got to do more from a scheduling standpoint, and I think we do a good job with it now.
Skyler Dixon with the AP. I know you have to spend more time studying Houston defense than offense, but as a quarterback guy, CJ Stroud, great start to his career. He's struggled a little bit lately. Are sophomore slumps inevitable? Is there anything you've seen that teams have done to kind of?
Well, I think it's really the respect that people have for him. I mean, I think just the way he came onto the scene, the first thing that jumped off to me was his arm talent, but really his ability to get the ball out in a tight quarters. I mean, there's throw after throw on a college statement. I thought it really translated very well to the pro game where you're seeing him getting hit and he's still snapping it off and getting it out with a tremendous amount of velocity, holding it to the last possible second, recognizing the pressure. And so, I mean, to see a young rookie quarterback make those type of pressure throws, I was very, very impressed with just a little I've seen him last year, and then you can see it carry over. But yeah, they're still putting up good numbers. Yeah, I wouldn't, I don't look at it that way, but he can make all the throws, good athlete, but just really has for a young quarterback, his composure in the pocket is very impressive.
Yeah.
Garrett Podell, CBS Sports. Mike, you talk about the importance of protection, kind of going off Skyler's question. So it's kind of known that their center, Houston, is the one IDing and making the protection calls over Stroud. How important is it for a quarterback to have that responsibility and IDing stuff and calling out the protection?
I mean, they really work hand in hand. I mean, one guy starts it, the other guy can finish it. So, I mean, it's just, there's philosophical beliefs and the mechanisms of how you start it, what you change, and that's really system by system. So their protection system is something that that I coached in at one time. So you do have an understanding of it, but there's a good way to do both, there's good ways to do both of, if the quarterback handles it or center handles, but at the end of the day, the quarterback has the best seat in the house. So for him to do the final adjustment is, I think, the norm, but yeah, the more the center can take off any quarterback's plate. I mean, there's times where guys, could, play a lot of football in this league that, didn't have to make a declaration. So when your center's, declaring it right, and then you got the whole communication battle now, because the communication battle, since they mic the center and the guard, the center and the guards and the TV and so forth. So there's a whole nother game of mannerisms and things that goes on at the line of scrimmage. So once again, that's more responsibility for the quarterback and center. So those things really do work hand in hand.
Patrick.
Hey, Mike. Patrick Walker, DallasCowboys.com. Couple questions, both centered on the receiving core. Can you talk about just how difficult it's been, the loss of Brandon Cooks to IR, and first of all, where he is in the process as far as his practice window? Yeah,
definitely. I mean, Brandon's missed. He's getting close as the communication from the training room this morning in our meeting. But yeah, he's feeling better. I know he's chomping at the bit to get out there. Yeah, but he's one of our leaders, one of our team leaders, let alone in the wide receiver room. So he's definitely been missed.
And the follow-up for that is, as Mingo is getting work more in practice, can you talk about the challenge of ramping him up for his debut with you guys, alongside trying to ramp up Cooks for his return for you guys?
Great problems to have. I mean, just you never have enough good players. But Mingo's doing good. He's he's so much more involved. It's good to have him from the beginning of the week. So he's putting in the extra time. We got an extra day of practice. So I see him making that transition.
Close out with Brad.
Brad Stan, 105 The Fan. Mike, as the play caller, is there a difference for you in getting Cooper into a rhythm from getting Dak into a rhythm?
Difference. I think really the word. It probably what's the definition of difference? You talking about plays, or you talking about throw? What I mean. So I do. Yes, definitely. Every quarterback's different. There's the things they prefer are different. But where are your reps? It's not only just the quarterback, but who he's thrown to, and the formations and personnel groups that you want to be in to attack their defense. So yeah, I think it's there's always a difference from quarterback to quarterback.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.